Hello, welcome to my shitty webcam video. Also, I'm talking kind of quietly because one of my roommates is home, and I'm hoping she can't hear me talking to myself in the other room. But basically, I just wanted to kind of just put stuff out into the world. I've been having a weird few days, and I don't really feel like fully explaining it to anyone I know. It feels weird. But it's a rainy day in Philadelphia, and I feel like I had a bit of a breakthrough in just my mood. I feel like my fog has lifted a little bit, my cloud, although it's raining outside. Also, the window's open, so if you hear street noise, that's why. It's because it's really hot in our dorm. No one can get the temperature to go down. We've been trying. It's like 74 in this room, so turn the fan off, but the windows are still cracked. But yeah, I the last few days, I think about like Friday to Sunday, pretty much. It's Monday today. I just had this realization of self-hatred, because I always joke like, oh, I hate myself, I hate myself. You know, when you're talking and like you do something stupid and you're like, oh, I hate myself, you know. And I've always kind of in my head been like, oh, I don't hate myself. Like there's people out there that like hate themselves. I don't hate myself, but I do. And I was in like a really intense place the whole weekend where I couldn't even figure out what I was mad at myself for. I was just mad about everything. I was angry at every part of myself. It didn't just apply to my body, which is where I feel like a lot of my self-hatred has kind of resided for my whole life. It's always been directed at my body and my appearance, and I never liked myself in that way. But I always was able to kind of find things I did like about myself, whether it was like, you know, I'm not a shitty, I like can carry a tune in a basket, or like, you know, my friends think I'm kind or like funny. So I think at some point I kind of lost that. I don't like have any makeup on, by the way, except for my eyebrows, so sorry. Um, and this isn't going to be edited. I'm literally just putting out trash content to vent. Watch, please, maybe, if you want to. Um, but the last few days I was really focused on everything, and on Saturday, I couldn't even leave my dorm because I was so frustrated with how ugly I looked and how I felt. And I was like frustrated. Like I wanted to punch a wall every time I looked at myself. And so I stayed inside the whole day. The only time I went out was when my roommate came home and wanted to get dinner. And it would have been horribly awkward and weird for me to say no. So I was kind of forced into going across the street to the dining hall. But for lunch I had microwave spaghetti from Target because I didn't want to leave to get food. And then I left on Sunday, but only because, again, it was like I was kind of put in a position where I was trying and trying and trying to get out, and I was getting ready and trying and trying and trying to go out. I was fucking frustrated, like so frustrated. And then my roommate was there, and I was like, I told her, I was like, I'm gonna go out. And then at that point, it would have been very obvious that there was something wrong if I didn't. So I did. Um, and every night I was crying before I went to bed, like just crying at like 1 in the morning and then going to sleep. because I wasn't just feeling ugly and feeling bad about myself, but I was feeling like I was delusional. Like I hated my personality. I hated that I've had this ongoing struggle with hating that I'm not who I wanted to be when I was a kid. I always wanted to be, you know, like by the time I'm 18, I'm gonna like be like an actress and a singer and like be a pop star and like be in TV shows and stuff. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I always thought I would be like, I always imagined myself successful while I was young when I was, 7. And I'm not that, you know what I mean? And I think that catches up with me sometimes, and I constantly find myself feeling sorry for little me and being like, I'm so sorry I'm not who you wanted to be. And then, as a kid, I always lived in that fantasy world. Like, I would pretend I would be like home alone and talking to myself and pretending I was like being interviewed for my new movie or my new album or like on a late night TV show, like that was just like, I always played out those fantasies in my head. And I still do that. Not as much because I think, sadly, our imaginations, I think, tend to teeter off a little bit as we get older, but it's still there. And I still do that. And I was so mad at myself for still entertaining that in my brain. I was like, it was like going back and forth with myself. Like just still doing that and then immediately going, you fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're so stupid. Why would you think that? Like, why are you still being delusional? Why are you still pretending that you're going to be something or nothing? You know what I mean? Really negative. Really negative. And it sounds so weird to say it out loud. It sounds so crazy. It sounds like I'm like a psycho that's like really mean to myself. And I guess I am really mean to myself, but I don't think that it doesn't feel weird to me when I'm doing it because it's so immediate. So I can't snap. It's so immediate. But it is really like it's an unhealthy thing that I do, and it was really killing me for the last few days. But I'm feeling a little bit better today. I didn't cry last night, which is I almost did, but didn't, which is like an improvement. Got a good amount of sleep. My morning class was canceled, so I like got to sleep in. I went out without a lot of trouble. Got dressed, went out, got lunch, called my mom. I think my real breakthrough started last night though, because I was getting really frustrated, feeling pent up, and my roommate was on the phone with her dad. And I think part of my problem is I also compare myself to people a lot. My roommate is in a completely different field than me, completely different major, like not related at all. And for her thing, she needs to like do internships, and she needs to like be establishing herself on like LinkedIn and all that stuff. And it's going really well for her, and she kind of has fallen into a lot of really good opportunities. And she was like she tells me, and then she was like telling her dad about something new that came up, and I'm happy for her, but then I compare myself and I feel like, oh, I'm not doing anything, like I'm a piece of shit, like I don't get anything I try to get, blah blah blah. So I had to leave, like I had to get out of the room because I just couldn't hear it again. Like I was just so frustrated, like I can't hear it again, like I can't keep listening to someone be so successful, and it just was making me feel like shit because I was already in like an insecure place. And so I grabbed my notebook and my pen, and I went into, there's like study rooms on each floor. I went to the study room closest to us, and I opened a window, and I sat in like it's a really thick windowsill, so and it's to the floor, so I sat on like the windowsill, and I just wrote. I wrote kind of like a poem, kind of just like thoughts. I don't know. I don't really know how to write like a regular poem. I don't really do that. But that felt really nice. I felt very at peace there. And I think that feeling is kind of continued into today, thankfully. I think there's just a lot going on. Sorry, there's an ambulance going by, so if you hear that. I think there's a lot going on. I'm in a very, like, transitional time in my life. Trying to figure out a lot of things, trying to declare a major, sorry, someone's dying. Trying to declare a major, trying to figure out my relationship with people, trying to find a place to live next year, trying to get a job for next year when I'm back in Philly, and yeah, it's a lot, and I think it makes problems that I already have come out because I feel stressed and I feel like I'm trying to move forward and progress, and even though I feel like I'm not, and so then I hate myself even more, and then that exacerbates my already prevalent body image issues, and I think it just culminates, and then I break, and I'm in like a rage for 3 days, and then I feel like all of a sudden I wake up. And it feels like that's always a problem for me with mental health. It's like for a week, I will feel like I'm not even awake. Like, just, I don't even, like, feel like I'm a part of anything. I'm not real, or I feel like everything's just happening around me, and I'm not a part of anything, if that makes sense. And then almost instantaneously, like, I'll wake up and, like, maybe it's just pretty outside and that boosts it, I don't know. But I'll wake up and I kind of feel okay, and then I'm like listening to music and talking to people and having a good time, and I realize all of a sudden I've like awoken from this place all of a sudden, and I'm back. And I don't know why, because I feel like a lot of times when people describe depression, which is something that's medically been thrown around at me, it's always like they feel bad for, months and months. And I have had that. I have had like ongoing depression, and I think I always have symptoms, but like my episodes are very broken up with like short periods of being awake and alive and feeling okay. I don't know why that is. This is going to be such a long video. I'm so sorry. Getting to the point, I had a really rough few days, and I was able to use a coping mechanism that I've been recommended a lot, and that I have used before, and it helps. And I think I have trouble, especially when it comes to self-hatred, expressing it to anyone I know, because if you're texting someone, you're like, oh yeah, I really hate myself today, I feel really ugly today, I feel like I'm a piece of shit. I don't know. I guess I'm worried about coming off like I'm like just asking for validation or like asking for compliments, which I'm not. I'm just trying to express how I feel. I hate burdening people, and I know it's weird to say that because I always say the opposite when people come to me for help, like, you're not being a burden, like, I don't mind, like, I want to help. But I feel that same insecurity. I don't take my own advice. I've never taken my own advice. It's bad. I give pretty good advice, I think. I mean, some people say I do, but I don't take any of it. But yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, get stuff out. Just express how I feel to the void. Maybe you'll see this, maybe you won't. I don't, no idea who's gonna see this. But yeah. Maybe I'll post a real people video at some point. It's something I've been meaning to do since I made this channel, and I really haven't. So, one day, maybe over the summer when I have more time, and I'm not doing college work. But yeah. If you listened to this whole thing, congratulations. Thanks for listening to my venting. Guess I'll see you again at some point. 6 months, who knows.